Grab the beat of Cam SP. Is that all on the auto cue?
That was supposed to arrive 2 hours ago.
No.
This is a great story.
It was here in this small room.
Good evening, I'm Morgan Wall, and welcome to Frontline. Coming up tonight, is your shampoo really working? Shonky Builder strikes back, and the truth about Pauline Hanson. Are those photos really real? But now to another real issue. The conflict continues to rage at the Murray Mouth. The Murray Mouth is the point at which the Murray River reaches the Southern Ocean. It is a unique area in the Murray Darling Basin. It is separated by Lake Alexandrina by a row of long islands. In the past, the government has allowed too much water to be extracted from the river system. Nowadays, the river is left unhealthy. Many conflicts are arising. Our resident weatherwoman, Alicia, is here to show us where the situation is located. How's it going?
Thank you, Morgan. Behind me, as you can see, is beautiful Australia. This region here is known as the Murray Darling Basin. Here you can see Lake Alexandrina, Lake Albert, the Coorong and the Murray Mouth. Back to you, Morgan.
And now, I'll cross live to Grace, coming live from the Murray River.
Here I am at the Murray River. Just around the bend is the mouth. There's conflict in this area because in the past, previous governments have allowed the over-extraction of water from the Murray-Darling Basin system. These are called surface water entitlements. So this means that farmers have the right to extract more water from the system than there's actually in it. See, there was a legal contract between the farmer and the government for the farmer to be able to extract as much water from the system as they wanted. Nowadays, the government is trying to buy these rights back. Now, these entitlements occurred up until 1994 when the government placed a restriction on the amount of water that could be extracted from the basin. This was known as the Murray-Darling Basin Cap. But unfortunately now, groundwater supplies have also been over-allocated, and this has affected the amount of water in the above-ground system. Now, due to extended drought as well as large extractions from the system, the Murray is no longer able to sustain itself. This has meant that the mouth of the Murray is beginning to close up, the lower lakes are so low that they're turning acidic, the wildlife and ecological systems that rely on the Murray are suffering. The conflict at the mouth of the Murray basically lies in what should be done now.
So what is the current conflict?
People have got very different ideas about what is best for the future of the Murray Mouth. Groups with different perceptions on Murray Mouth management include environmentalists who believe that the mouth requires a large amount of water in order to restore its ecological balance, farmers and agribusinesses who think that water should not be sent to the mouth of the Murray because it's more important to be used for irrigation and agriculture, industries that employ many and are very important to the Australian economy. Another group involved in this conflict is the tourism industries, who rely on a steady amount of flow through the mouth of the river for recreation activities and therefore generating profit. Other interested parties in this conflict include water authorities such as the catchment management authorities, as well as the Murray Darling Basin Commission and the residents in the affected areas. Thank you, and back to you, Morgan.
Thank you for that enlightening report. We now cross to Alison, who will shed some light on the geographical factors most significant in the Murray Mouth conflict.
Species of water birds are listed under the Japan-Australia and China-Australia Migratory Bird Agreement, which means that Australia is to protect migratory birds and their environment. The area has been designated as a Ramsar wetland of international significance and forms part of the Coorong National Park. The South Australian Government created a Murray Mouth Sound Pumping Project, which is funded by the Murray Darling Basin Commission. It also receives equal contributions from the state governments of New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia. Experts say the Murray Mouth used to experience drought or drought-like conditions every 20 years. Nowadays it experiences these conditions once every 2 years. That's terrible. If the Murray Mouth closes, major impacts will be made on the Coorong, lower lakes and mouth environment. It contains salt and freshwater habitats and is important to a wide variety of plants and animals for feeding and breeding purposes. Dredging has several positive outcomes, including keeping the mouth open and allowing the flow of water from the mouth to the sea, preserving the health of the ecosystem by allowing cool, fresh, oxygenated seawater to enter the Coorong, and it reintroduces tidal movement. The Coorong and lower lakes provides habitat for 78 species of fish, and the mouth provides a passage to a number of species that breed in the Coorong and Murray estuary. If the mouth does close, the plants and animals that live in the area will suffer, as will recreational and tourism industries. Project development is being managed by DWLBC, while South Australia Water is managing the dredging contract and other physical works.
Alison, charming as always. Hannah's coming to us from the Coorong with the latest on the government strategies to save the lakes.
I'm here at Lake Alexandrina in South Australia, where the federal government has applied to let seawater flow into the lower lakes of the Murray. South Australia's River Murray Minister, Colleen Maywald, says the strategy will be used as a last resort to avoid acidification of the river if droughts continue. The current water levels in Lake Albert and Alexandrina are below sea level. Under the Advance Approval Strategy, the South Australian Government outlined a series of triggers that would lead to releasing water through the barrages of the Murray Mouth. These triggers include a fall in water level at Lake Alexandrina to 1.5 metres below sea level and 0.5 metres below sea level at Lake Albert. According to the government, there would be just enough water let in to maintain water level and avoid acidification, and not to flood or refill the lower lakes completely. The Greens say there's enough water in the basin to save the lower lakes and have accused the federal government of lacking political will. They are asking the government not to give up on the lakes and to buy water from the market for $300 per megalitre. The purchased water would be used to give the lower lakes and the Coorong some much needed time. The Alexandrina Council is not supporting the government's move to let seawater into the freshwater lakes because their community relies on the water and lakes and the internationally significant wetlands.
To follow up on Hannah's report, Nick tells us about the management strategies in place to keep the mouth open.
I'm here at Goolwa Beach in the Coorong National Park. Behind me, you can see one of the 2 sand dredges that have been at work here for over 7 years since 2002. Originally devised as a temporary measure to keep the mouth open over the summer of 2002-2003, the dredges operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to keep the mouth open. The project, which operates at a cost of $4.1 million per year, has dumped well over 3 million cubic metres of sand, and yet it still only just manages to keep the mouth open.
Here is a picture of the Murray Mouth in September 2002. This was taken prior to the dredging activities. The image here was taken in August 2006 and shows the astounding work that the dredging has achieved. Experts say that increased environmental flows are the Murray's only solution in the long term if we are to keep the mouth of the Murray open and maintain the health of the Coorong.
Such a worrying issue that affects us all. Equally as worrying to the Australian population is that of the quality of shampoo on our shelves.
How's it going?
I want to start farming.
The mouth is just upstream around the bend.
No, Grace.
Downstream?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Do it on your own way. This is so thin, like, way to rope each other's
Sorry, this is my first day. Okay, that is like a fucking rat. I don't want
Grace
to
is
do
quick.
this. I just want to do a PowerPoint presentation.